Hola, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasant morning if you're in Nigeria. If you're watching from another African country, of course, good day, depending on where you're watching from. My name is Kayode Femi. I'm a veterinary doctor and I work with Farmalat. And today we are having an interesting show. We have a unique invention that we're extremely very proud of. Right. I know Nigeria connotes a lot of things to a lot of people, but when we have an invention or something that can solve a fundamental problem, I think we have hit gold. And today we will be discussing one of those icons, right? Something that stands in the middle of national pride in the livestock industry. Our goal in Farmalat is to ensure that we build an infrastructure where animal health can be extremely catered for. But because we also know that people's livelihood are dependent on their livestock, we know that anything we do to improve the quality of livestock or the health, or to improve the quality of information or knowledge in that industry will directly impact on the quality of the people who own those livestock vis-a-vis the entire society at large. I'm very pleased, really, really very pleased to be joined with the brain behind the popular brand called Noiler. You know, when we were growing up, there was this advert that if it is not this, it is not this, right? Today, we are going to conclude this session by saying if it is not Noiler, it cannot be Noiler. Farmalat is bringing you originals, right? The brain behind the Noiler chicken, the person in charge of the head of Noiler business. You don't have anywhere else to go. Once it is Noiler, whatever solution we're offering today will be the remarkable solutions straight from the source. Well, you know, since I'm not the genius behind it, we have assembled a set of people who will be talking to us around this grant. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're also streaming live on Facebook, depending on where you're watching from. You will be able to interact with us live, ask questions, throw suggestions. Your comments are all noted. At every point in time, we will be bringing in those comments here and there, placing emphasis on some, expanding some, and ensuring that you have the best of activities today. So on behalf of Farmalat, I want to welcome every one of us to this Noiler Chicken Food Security and Opportunities available. We know we tagged it available for veterinarians, but we also want to say that available for the entire country. Right. So the first person who will be coming up on stage to tell us everything about Noiler is the head of Noiler business. I'll be introducing the big max rate a little later on, but let's hear from the head of Noiler business. What is Noiler? Why is Noiler Noiler? What are the potentials in Noiler? And I want to bring up Mr. Korede Afolabi, Mr. Korede Afolabi, the businessman behind Noiler. And you know, he was sharing a few statistics with me, and I was amazed at what Noiler has done. You will have the next 15 minutes to share with us everything we need to know about Noiler. I don't know how you're going to perform that magic, but you know, I trust your genius. So what is Noiler and what do we need to know? Please help me welcome on stage the head of Noiler Business, Amo Siberi Hatchery Limited, Mr. Korede Afolabi, to take the next 15 minutes. Over to you.
Good morning, Doctor. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, everybody around the world. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Korede Afolabi, so I will be taking us through a journey on Noiler. So I have a few presentations. looking at Noiler business opportunity for vets, especially, and even for the entire populace. I think we have a lot of things to offer. Noiler was developed by Amofam Zebra Archery. If you don't know that Amofam invented Noiler, I think it's a good opportunity to know that Amofam Zebra Archery developed Noiler birds for our use. Next slide. So Noiler is a dual-purpose bird that gives you meat and chicken. The sexes are not separated, and it is majorly to address 2 or 3 fundamental issues: food security, to guarantee that, then to fight poverty, also to address issue of infant mortality, maternal mortality. We have all these around malnutrition in our environment, hunger, stunted growth, especially in the rural areas. We have seen this times without number. We have seen pictures. We have seen horrible statistics. We have seen awful and unpleasant, stats about malnutrition in Nigeria, and it gets us worried. And I want to tell you that that was a primary purpose why Noiler was developed, to address these issues. So from statistics around the world has shown that Nigerians that live below poverty line by the World Bank says they are 40%. Even in Nigeria, our recent statistics by the NBC shows that 63% of Nigerians live or are multi-dimensionally poor. And that's a very striking numbers there. It's a big concern. And 65% of this number, which is 133 million, 65% of that is 86 million, are in the north. 35% of them, 47 million, in the south. And we also learned that 149 million children are stunted in sub-Saharan African country. Then this means that there is a need for us to pay attention to malnutrition, to poverty, to stunting, to infant mortality, and find a lasting solution to it. So this was the motivation behind Noiler development. We started our genetic work in 2003, and a lot has been done for research and development up to date. And it's still going on, because you don't have to stop, you continue doing that. And this example of what you are seeing when we started, and it's gone beyond this now. This is our genetic gain research farm and our parent stock farm there in Awe, Oyo State. Looking at the salient features about the Noiler. First, Noiler is a very strong bird that can adapt to our local environment. There is nowhere in Nigeria that you put Noiler, because our work has spanned through the 36 states plus the FCT, even to West Africa. And Noiler has done greatly well. It's acclimatized with the society, with the environment. It does well, produces very well, grows very well. And, in the first 5 weeks that they are giving their vaccination, they do excellently well. So looking at Noiler with the native chicken that we have, from the video, we can see the size. these two pictures, don't be surprised if they are the same age. Don't be surprised if they are the same age. So Noiler does better in terms of egg production, in terms of meat production, in terms of livability, in terms of income generation, and in terms of nutrition. The Noiler birds can give you 3 times the eggs that the local breed will give you. The local breed, for instance, will give you between 30 and 40, and the Noiler birds will give you 150 to 160 eggs in a year. That is wonderful because you are going to make a lot of money, not just a lot of money, you are going to eat a lot of eggs, and your children will be able to consume that egg as well, therefore addressing issues of malnutrition. So when we also look at Noiler from the very interesting feed perspective, look at the global grain crisis that we have now. We have a big problem on our ends with feed. So if you have a bird that can reduce your costs by 30, 35, 40%, that's a great impact on your bottom line. So everybody is looking for something to save costs. And I want to tell you today that Noiler is that product that can save the cost for you. So they can eat vegetables, they can eat grains. You have a lot of sorghum. We are blessed with all these carbohydrates. So when they move around, when they roam around, when they scavenge, when they free range, they can fend for themselves. So meaning that you just need to provide just a little of compounded feed in the morning, like 25 grams, and the Noiler goes out, fend for itself, and it comes back. So the more you take care of your Noiler, the better they become. So after 5 weeks of intensive care, and it is released to fend for itself, it means that you will spend so less on feeding. Now, looking at our business model is our mother unit to our smallholder farmers. But I would like to tell us that the grandparent stock, the parent stock reside here in Nigeria with Amo Farm. So you need not worry about supplies. We have that, and I've shown you earlier that the facility is in place in Nigeria. So from our mother unit, we supply the day-old chicks, the feed, the vaccine, the medication that are required. And the mother unit is an experienced or even an intermediate farmer who can just be taken through a 3-day, 1-week training, short course, and he can rear Noiler for 5 weeks and be able to do every other thing, provide eat for them, provide feed for them, and the Noiler eats about just 1 kg of feed in 5 weeks. So if you're having 100 Noilers in your pen house for brooding, that means you're just going to buy a few back. So you already know from the beginning that it's so number of kg, 100 kg that I need for 100 birds. So your efficiency is intact. Then after that, and the vaccination is done in that 5 weeks. And the major vaccination we do is the Gomboro, is the Newcastle, Lasota. I will repeat Gomboro, repeat Lasota. Then we give the last one, Fowlpox, at the 32nd week. Initially, we were doing 4 weeks, but when we started experiencing the outbreak of Fowlpox, we included that in the vaccination program. And 5 weeks, after 5 weeks, we sell to the mother unit, sell to the smallholder farmers. So the smallholder farmers are household that keep it in their backyard, keep it in their houses, 20, 15, 10, as you can take care of them. and you grow them for the next 9 weeks. By 14 weeks, the males are grown up. 14 to 16 weeks, we expect that you either consume them or you sell them and get some income. So the rural woman sells that and gets some income and use that income to buy another batch, use other income to settle others' domestic calls, and from there. Then we are also working continuously to ensure that a buyback arrangement is created so that farmers, smallholder farmers who had read their birds will not have issues with markets because the production is expanding, productivity is expanding, more people are coming on stream. So we have to be forward looking in our thinking. Okay, this is an example of a small a mother unit, a small space where she can keep our 300 birds. It's fine. The second one, she has a better space, and the third person there has a makeshift kind of pen house. So this will develop as a result of research that we did around Nigeria, where we discovered that to own land in some region is a critical thing to do. So we don't want anybody to be left out, especially the women. So we created this kind of makeshift that is not expensive and is transferable. You can move it from one point to the other. Done. So these are the smallholder farmers. You see a typical smallholder farmer in the rural setting. Look at these guys. They are very happy. They are exciting. The birds have grown. They are making money. They are getting eggs from their birds. And this is what we are talking about. And this economic cycle continues because after she sells this, she buys another one. Even we have some of them keeping 2 batches, 3 batches. So it's a lot of business activities and income generating activity that is going on and is profitable. Next. Next. Okay, so our impact in the last 6-7 years that we have really hit the market, we have done over 65 million, and that is huge that we have sold into the Nigerian market. Also, we have developed over 6,500 mother units. These are entrepreneurs, older mother units, small businesses that are doing their own thing, and they have been able to do several cycles. It's interesting to know that over 30% of them have reared this bird for more than 3 cycles, more than 5 cycles rather, and up to 50 to 60% have also raised them above 3 cycles. Over 1.3 million smallholder farmers households that have raised our bird from beginning to the end. And what do I mean by that? From 5 weeks to maturity. They have seen eggs, they have eaten eggs, they have sold eggs. And that's why our slogan is buy Noiler, sell Noiler. You don't just buy and sell alone. Eat Noiler chicken and eggs. And that's a slogan moving around the rural space. So Noiler has helped to enhance rural income. It has improved nutrition of families, and people attest to this. There are testimonials everywhere. We have done a lot of empowerment. We have done a lot of business, and even our footprint speaks to this. From inception from inception, from year to date, from the beginning to date, rather, SHF that we have them around all the states. And if you see the color, the difference in color shows where we have concentration. So in Kaduna, a lot of them. In Oshun, a lot of them. In Borno, a lot of them. In Rivers, a lot of them. In Enugu, a lot of them. So you can see that Noiler is that it has that Nigerianness, and it covers the entire region of our country. So also, if we look at the footprint of the mother unit in the next slide, from beginning to date, we have touched Borno, Kano, Oshun, Ondo, Ekiti. So we are in all these states, but you can see where we have done excellently well, and we also need to do more. When we came into the market, our approach was to find the right route to the market. And our right route to the market was the rural space. So what do they enjoy? What do they like to see? We came up with what we call rural sensitization. It could be family sensitization. It could be community sensitization. It could be CDA sensitization, landlord association sensitization, women society sensitization. So we started doing all that, and we are really eating hard, and we're moving at the same time. We also introduced something that we call rural film show, and our rural film show was great because when you come up with a film and everybody gathers and you are able to send your message clearly to them, then a lot of people buy that idea. And this has gone everywhere around the world to the extent that Harvard Business School came to Nigeria to do a case study on Noiler. And that you can find on the internet, you can find on our website, you can read more of that and see the great work that Amofam is doing and what Dr. Oladuton has developed in the last few years. So for veterinarians, I'm happy to tell us that as of today, I have about 40 veterinarians as mother units. That number is small. It can be bigger than that. Across the country, I have doctors who are veterinarians who are mother units. Then we have over 6,500 mother units, and 40 is just a drop of water in the ocean. You can't see the impact. So that need for many of us to still come in and join. So we can become a mother unit. You can do the business of mother unit. You can rear birds from day old to 5 weeks. It's very easy for a vet because you understand the rudiment, you understand the procedure, you understand the health, you understand virtually everything that needs to be put in place. So your likelihood, chances to make profit and more profit is high than the person who is just coming in, who doesn't understand the nitty-gritty, and we just have to take the person out there. So also, all these mother units we have all around, they need some essential services, veterinarian services. You can provide that services. They need a vet shop. You can provide that. They need medication. You can provide that. They need vaccine. You can provide that. So vets can tap into that opportunity and fully utilize it and even scale it up. As vets, we can also provide, we can sell and also administer vaccines. Like I told us initially, we have about 4 vaccines that we, 3 vaccines majorly anyway, that we administer during our vaccination program. I have talked about the Newcastle I've talked about the gumboro. Those are twice. Then we have the fowl pox. The fowl pox is by web. So a lot of your experience is needed in this space, and it's a lot of money. Looking at the numbers, 65 million birds that have gone out. If you are the one vaccinating 65 million birds, that's a kind of cool cash in your pockets. So in this time and season that we are, that you need to find other stream of income, I think there is no other better place to go than this. So our vaccination program, this is what Marit is giving from the archery. You give them vitamin, and we are familiar with all this, but this is the program, and it can always be spread around. So you see the wing well. This is where you can play as veterinarians. Also, you can become a distributor to our indigenous company that produces pharmaceutical for vets. All those imported medications are being produced here, locally sourced, and you can buy them. They are very effective. It has been proven. And currently we are doing promo, 25% off, especially for you, the veterinarians. So I think it's a good opportunity to tap into, and that's the number you can call if you need one of that products. Buy a carton and above and get that 25%. So I also need to show us the mother unit economics, which we call the EOP. Is it not loading? So the EOP is a breakdown of the costs. How much is DOC? If you are doing 1,000, how much are you going to spend? Well, the transportation, how much you are going to spend? The vaccines, how much you are going to spend? The wood shaving that you need, the charcoal that you need as source of heat, or any other thing as the source of heat, the amount of feed that you need. Like I told us, I said we need just 1 kg per bird for 5 weeks. So if you're having 300 birds, you need 300 kg. If you're having 500 birds, you need 500 kg. So it's very simple. It makes your efficiency intact. You know what you exactly need. So that's the cost that we have in the EOP. And at the end of the day, there's a selling price. We also make provision for finance. For instance, you borrow money from a friend or a bank, and it's 5% is this. The provision is also there that, okay, if I remove this interest, will I still be able to make money? And from that calculation, I don't know why it's not coming up. From that calculation, you have a return on your investment of 32%. So, and that's a conservative number. If you do better than that, like veterinarians, I know we can push it up by 3%, by 5%. So if you want to contact our customer service, you want to buy Noiler, you want to sell Noiler, you want to eat Noiler chicken, you want to eat Noiler egg or even sell it, you call 0700 6600. Contact us at contactnoiler@rmc.com. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook handle at NoilerNG, Instagram handle NoilerNG, or at our YouTube TV, Noiler TV. Thank you for listening. God bless.
Fantastic. That's why you are headmaster. They said head of Noiler business, right? Headmasters give a very good download of what it is that people are interested in. There's a lot of questions. I have also some special interest. I'm trying to see how best to manage the questions and then the time. the Assistant Inspector General of Police, the president of SAP Foundation, has been coming in and going out. I wanted to see if we can take her. Then our guy at the top will now come last. But just a moment. Okay, I can see her come in. President Ma, we can hear you. Are you in a good position to share?
Yes.
Okay, just that your
Honestly,
network is
I
slightly.
am not because I had serious. Can you hear me? Femi, can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you. Yes, we can hear you,
Hello?
madam. Yes,
Yes,
we
I
can
am
hear
in a
you.
very, very difficult situation. Yes, I have a network problem, and now I've connected, and we are having a program. Any moment from now, the inspector of police might just walk in. I just excuse myself standing outside watching. If he comes out, definitely I will have need to disconnect. To disconnect. So I don't know what kind of time do I have really to I don't know if it, yes, go ahead. I can do it
So
very
you
quickly.
just have, yes, 5 minutes to share with us why you shared Noella to 300 women. And then about SAP
Well,
Foundation.
okay, well, thank you very much, Femi. I'm truly sorry that today is just model up for me. I have a conflicting program, as a police. The IG just sent. We are now in the conference room, so I'll just quickly say a word or two. I'm coming. I'm just in one Zoom with them. No, no, no. These are not my own. These are not my own. Sorry. Sorry. There's going to be a lot of distraction, really, 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 really. So I don't know how it's going to be. Well, so for the South Foundation, it's just a little. Can we go back to slide one for me, please? My slide, can you go back? Hello, Femi, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Madam
Hello,
President.
Femi.
So this is slide one. Yes. Go ahead, Madam
Hello,
President.
Femi.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. You can go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am. We can hear you.
Hello, Femi.
We can hear you, ma'am. Yes, go ahead, ma'am. We can hear you. Let me drop her a message. Okay, so I think we will just spend. Fortunately, I was also part of the program. I wanted you to hear from the horse's mouth. So we will take our guy at the top, and then after his discussion, I will come in and share a few things around why she shared, because I was part of it from start to finish, why she shared 300 to 300 women Noiler birds, and the kind of transformation that happened in the area where she shared. I was part of it, and as I said, I can easily stand in for her. For me, before bringing up the GMD for Amo Siberiatry, Noiler represents a couple of things for me. It represents something we should be proud of, number one. It represents something that can literally uplift a society. And for that social aspect, for people who are engaged in ensuring that they give back to the society, there's really literally nothing you could do beyond watching people get excited going with their chicken home. Chicken is still a prime food for us in Africa. some clients' beefs are. The third thing that it's important I want us to discuss is that it's also a source of income. You could literally pick that as a career and start up with. And those are the discussions we're going to be engaging in after the presentation from the genius behind the Noiler brand. Right. You won't get it any better. Somebody slept, conceived the idea, started it up, formed a team, got it to a stage where they've distributed over 65 million day-old chicks of Noiler, transforming different parts of the society. And to me, there's no bigger pleasure than to bring upstage the GMD. GMD is General Managing Director, Group Managing Director, not General, Group Managing Director, Amusiberi Hatchery, proudly a veterinarian. The first day he picked my call, I was by my wife. I said, he picked my call, he picked my call. I said, he picked my call. You can imagine he did. Thank you so much. Your life has been an inspiration, and it's no other. It's a great privilege to have you here. I want you to just share with us why Noiler. What gave you the insight into this? Share the story around it. And because you formed the team and you executed it perfectly, what do you think are the things we need to know around something you conceived? So you have another 15 minutes and then we can get going to the question and answer. If you're here, you were watching streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, you can drop your questions. I've already seen somebody from Ghana saying that, how do I get Noiler? We'll answer all those questions, yeah, right? But let's hear from the horse's mouth. Welcome on board, sir, Dr. Ayola Odunton.
Thank you, Dr. Femi. First of all, I want to congratulate you on your great initiatives, your ability to be able to see around the corner and position properly. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. We're very honored by it. Thank you. There's certain things that happen in your life that you just know is only God that can make it happen. Because you don't sit down to start planning something as epoch making, as change making as Noiler. Amu Farm City Hatchery, which used to be Amu Farm Sanders Hatchery, has always had grandparents' dog lines, and in those days we used to distribute the Easter crop. Now, when we took over the company in 2003, we started doing some genetic work, but actual selection started in 2008. We were going towards creating a bird that was Nigerian, for Nigerians. We actually got to the point where we started to realize very quickly that we were in the middle of something very exciting when, after many years of genetic selection for certain traits, it became clear that a bird like that could emerge. Now, when I hear myself called the genius and all of that, I just laugh. Because my classmates that are watching this know that I was the genius in the class. And but I just happened to be positioned divinely to be able to see the opportunity and the change this could make to as many lives as possible. We started with a few birds around us in Oyo State, in a few villages, and the results started to emerge very quickly. That we had a program, and then we developed the program along with them, and decided that let us, rather than make mistakes that a lot of people had made in the past, let us not give the old chicks, let us raise the birds for a certain period of time, ensure they were fully immune from most diseases and grown to be able to withstand the hazards of the rural setting. And the rest, like they say, is history. we kept it very quiet because I wanted us to have a successful product before we started to go out and make any noise, because I didn't want to compromise it in any way. So all we have done all these years has been with the collaboration of some friends, both local and international, and our own resources to try and get into a position where it would become a phenomenon that we as Nigerians will be proud of. I coined the name Noiler. I was sitting in my living room in the farm and thought about Nigeria, thought about Nollywood, Niger. Said, what name are we going to give this book? I said, Noiler. And it had a perfect ring to it. It was relatable. It was, and so whenever Noiler is mentioned anywhere in the world, and right now Noiler is present in 6 West African countries, it will always point back to Nigeria as being where it all started. Thank you.
You could go ahead, sir.
Okay. What else? Well, we started very humbly and then ended up recruiting a team of about 50 young men and women, idealistic men and women who wanted people who were not interested in working in the cities, wanted people who were quite happy to go into the villages and talk to people. So wanted people who had that pioneering capacity, but also were interested in making change into the world. So our interviews were very meticulous about the kind of people that we recruited. These young men and women were given some very tiny cars and were mandated with driving from village to village, recruiting mother units among those who they were able to shortlist as being qualified, and then smallholder farmers as well. And all sorts of interesting stories have come up how they were able to do it. Some went to the village head and spoke to his wives or spoke to the village head. Some men chased them out with all sorts of incantations because they were coming to corrupt his wives. There have been all sorts of interesting stories that have come from the field. But we have millions of pictures of interactions because every day these young men and women go out. They take pictures and they send it back to me. So we can show you mountains of pictures of interactions they've had in the local communities. It became clear, and for when you travel overseas and they're describing your country, a country you're very, very proud of, you're very passionate about, and it's being described as the malnutrition capital of the world, or with high infant mortality, maternal mortality. For me, it used to give me a lot of shame. And I probably will not enjoy the rest of that conference, no matter the 5-star hotel we're in. Because no matter what I say or what I do, I will be looked upon as that guy from a country that has the highest maternal mortality rate in the world. You know, highest infant mortality, child stunting, protein malnutrition. Those things used to fill me with a lot of shame. And coming to Nigeria and being able to develop the Noiler to be able to do what it's doing now, you know, making an impact on protein malnutrition across the length of the country providing the opportunity for children who cannot afford commercial eggs to be able to eat an egg on a regular basis, and be able to multiply that in all the states of Nigeria, and also increasingly so in West Africa. For me, is something that all of us as Nigerians need to be proud of. It's been a collective effort. I must tell you, we have had to bring in resources from all around the place to be able to make it happen. I want to mention in particular Dr. Anand Bura, who's a member of our team and has led a lot of the work, to make this a reality. Of course, we have had all sorts of collaborations and support. Coming to discuss it publicly now is with the belief that now that a solid foundation has been established, we can expect that as many people as possible can join in this bandwagon to reduce infant mortality, maternal mortality, stunting, protein malnutrition among the poorest of the poor of our country. Noiler has found its way into the supermarkets and the kitchens of the affluent because it's the best tasting chicken I've ever eaten. I mean, the combination of, that chicken with the right amount of pepper and seasoning produces a taste that, hardly be matched. But the real purpose of the Noiler is not to end up in the kitchen of the rich. And even if it does end up in the kitchen of the rich, it should pass through a rural farmer who has the opportunity to make some money from it. So the next thing for us is to see how we can get as many birds as possible into the rural communities, and then find a way of aggregating these birds from the rural communities and bringing it to the city. That way, somebody in a village somewhere has had the opportunity to make 30% profit on the bird and probably also keep some egg and chicken for their family to eat. Thank you.
Brilliant, sir. Brilliant. And you cannot overemphasize the miracles that has happened as a result of Noiler. So we are going into the question and answer. I will lead the first set of questions, and I also want to bring up Mr. Korede up on stage so that we can all answer the questions together. Right. The price of eggs is skyrocketing in an alarming rate because of the price of feed, or probably the present conditions surrounding the poultry industry. I used to buy eggs 600 naira per crate, 550 per crate. Now, as dollar is going up, so the price of egg, I really can't tell. Egg is now, Mara buys them, but I think it's around 2.4, 2.5 now. I'm not sure of this figure. Mr. Correa, how much is a crate of egg?
2.3, 2.5.
So you see, now the reason why that is because as a farmer, you spend a lot of cost in raising your birds from day-old chicks to 5-6 weeks when they start, 5-6 months when they start laying. And that's a lot of cost, and you have to recover the cost. Now, a research has been done that we don't think because we eat less of protein. You see a lot of us eat, especially children. They say it's the fathers that should eat the big meat in the pot, and the children should eat less of the meat. Sometimes they eat a whole meal for 1 week without protein. You cannot be smart as a person, right? because your brain is a lot of water and protein. So I know Noiler is solving a real problem. Because here, you spend 1 kg on feed for 5 weeks, and then they eat garbage, kitchen waste, till they start laying. So the first question I want you to address, maybe I should ask Mr. Korede first. Because they are eating garbage, will it affect the quality of eggs that they will produce at the end of the day? Because we need to establish that first.
No, it doesn't affect it.
So it's not garbage in, garbage out.
It doesn't affect it. They
No,
convert it.
relax. I need to be sure that it's not garbage in, garbage out. Is it?
Oh, of course. It's not.
No. So what they eat, they have the capacity to convert it into good eggs, and not like it will be 60% protein and then the other ones will be I don't know what to call it.
They will
So
convert
the
it
eggs
very
we
well.
the eggs
It's
we get from
naturally
Noiler.
there. It's naturally there that when they eat other waste, farm waste, kitchen waste, they produce as well as when they eat feed. The only difference is that when you put them majorly on feed, you may have more eggs than the baseline we have given you.
Okay, so let's get it. I need, because that will build the foundation of the question I will ask.
Yeah.
So the eggs we get from Noiler is the same egg you get from layers.
Exactly.
Fantastic. All right, so you can keep your questions coming because this is an interesting question and answer segment. So it means that you could spend less and get the same results. Now, another question I want to ask you, Mr. Korede, is that at an average, do you need training to raise the birds from 5 weeks to when they start laying? Do you need training? Is there a special training, or anybody can do that?
Yes. Everybody can do that and raise from after 5 weeks to maturity. But we give a special extensive training for like an hour, 2 hours before the birds are handed over to smallholder farmers, especially those things that you must put in place before you have them, and those things you must do on a daily basis.
Okay, so I'm trying to draw the line. There's 0 to 5 weeks, and then there's 5 weeks to maturity. What I'm asking, do you need a special training from 5 weeks to maturity, or you can just keep them in your compounds and then just feed them?
That's exactly what I've answered. For 5 weeks to maturity,
Yep.
you don't need extensive training, but we still offer training for whoever is taking that up, so that you know what is expected of you, what is expected of the birds, and what are your outcomes and expectations.
All right, fantastic. So another question, there are questions on the chat board. I will address all those questions. I just need to set a few baseline. If you have 10 Noiler hens in your compound, like an average of how many eggs can you expect to get? Let's assume that you are not buying any commercial feed from 5 weeks to the mature. You have 10 hens in your compound. How many eggs are you expecting to get daily?
You should get about 6 to 7 eggs per day.
So, right, you should get 6 to 7 eggs every day. Not like you will get 6 eggs this week and then next week is another 6 eggs. It's a daily laying, right? I need that to be clear.
Let me say every other day.
Okay, so you get 6 eggs today. Will you get 6 eggs tomorrow?
Some lays today. Those one may not lay tomorrow when you are getting another batch of egg.
Okay.
So you may have 6 today, have 7 tomorrow. In another day, you may have 8.
Okay. So
every day you get eggs.
let's assume that at an average you get 6 eggs every day from 10 chicken.
Yeah, correct.
And I have 4 children that eat egg every day. So it means that if I have 10 hens, I can conveniently get eggs for them every day that they are going to school.
Correct.
Fantastic. Last question before I start picking, before I go to Dr. Ayola Odunton. Right. So how long typically do they lay? So let's assume that I have 10 hens and they start laying today. Will they lay for a year? Will they lay for 6 months? Will they lay for 2 years? How long typically do they lay?
So they lay for a period of 1 year per cycle, although it's up to 70 weeks eventually. But 1 year per cycle, they will continue to lay for you.
You know, what you're saying is very powerful. That's why I repeat those questions, just to be sure that when we make a conclusion that you should go. Because after this online meeting, I will encourage everybody to go and look for a mother unit and buy 10 hens. That will solve your problem permanently, right? Because the way I'm calculating, I'm also a victim. And I'm already preparing my cage. So let me recap what you said. So if you have 10 hens, you can get 6 eggs, lay 6 eggs every day for 1 year. Does that summarize what you have said?
Yes, if you listen to my presentation very well, I said we train smallholder farmers so that they understand the nitty-gritty of training the birds from 5 weeks to maturity. And what they require every day is about 25 grams of feed, which is equal to a tin of milk per bird. So once you give them that in a day, they can free range and come back. You can give them kitchen waste, you can give them waste food, and they will do exactly what we have explained. So for six eggs per day from 10, and you can get more sometimes, depending on how you take care of them. You know, there are some people that will take cognizance of those things and ensure that they were able to eat those things those days. Then you get more yield from them.
All right, let me go to Dr. Ayola Odunton. Right? Anything you say is like it's the Bible we're reading, right? You developed this. I want to tell you the summary and I want you to validate them, because my next set of questions will be to promote something that will remarkably transform this country. Once our children start eating protein, I think they will be more intelligent. I think we starve them of too much protein. So we will start building planes in Nigeria because of Noiler. The challenge is we don't have our children eat sufficient protein. So what Mr. Korode just said is that if you have 10 hens, let's say you bought 10 hens from a mother unit and you raise them till they start laying, you could conveniently get 6 eggs every day for 1 year. It means that 6 multiplied by 365 multiplied by 10. Multiply 6, yes, 6 every day multiplied by 365. That's the volume of eggs you will get. Are we correct? Dr. Ayola Odunton.
Thank you, buffering here. Well, the reality of it is that even for commercial birds that lay commercially with optimum feed will not necessarily provide the magic that you're trying to paint here. So nobody would give you any sort of guarantees on numbers. At the end of the day, your bird will perform according to how well you take care of it in terms of feeding, in terms of shelter, in terms of peace of mind with regards to protection from predators. But what we have seen happen in thousands and thousands of backyards, hundreds of thousands of backyards, is that people feed these birds with good quality waste from their farms, good quality scrap from their waste from their kitchen, and provide decent accommodation. In fact, there was a lady who had evacuated her hut, what was the family room in her hut, and that was where she was keeping the Noiler birds, you know. So we've seen all sorts of scenarios, but if you take good care of them, then they'll produce optimally for you. Now, for those who have taken the Noiler and put them in cages and giving them feed on ad lib basis, they have had also varying results, but better than what you will get when the birds are on the free range. So please, no garbage for Noiler.
Okay, so let's get this clearly. So since we're talking on numbers, let's say you feed them on chicken waste, and I saw in a video on your site somebody cutting leaf. I don't know which of the leaf the person is cutting. Is it vegetable? I really can't tell, but the person was cutting leaf for the Noilers. You won't share light on that they eat leaves also. And which of the leaves? Before we start cutting grasses for them.
Yes, sir. Well,
that's the
it's
video.
not grass. That wasn't grass. That wasn't grass. That was a very high quality vegetable that I'm sure is packed full of nutrients. So like I said, they are livestock, they are living organisms. You want to take as much care of them as possible. And we find out that in the rural communities, they get a lot of care and they produce optimally for them. But yes, the birds will free range, they will graze, they will walk around your compound and pick up their own nutrients. They will try and balance their nutrition that way. If you augment by giving them good waste from your kitchen and remnant from your farm or remnant from your kitchen, and if that's a different level of feeding as well. And then a different level is to actually give them some quantity of commercial feed. Now, your normal bird in the cage in the city will eat 125 grams, for instance. With 10, 15 grams, the Noiler will also up its game. So it's not magic, you know, it's science-based. You know, all we have done is that we have done selection process thousands of times, you know, looking for the characteristics or traits that we want. And that's how we have come here.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll have just two questions, then we'll start taking questions from the chat. So I think I've fairly established the fact that if you have Noiler in your backyard, I know you designed it for rural farmers, and I've seen it transform the lives of rural farmers. I was part of the SAP Foundation's meeting. I saw the joy. I have the video on my system, the joy on women's face, widows, you know, and chicken on the Mambila, it's around 10, 12,000. So for us to give them at 5 weeks free, 10 birds each, some 20, was absolutely really very heartwarming. I love it. And, you know, she had said we would do another one in December, and I'm looking forward to it. And that's to say that for all of us who are traveling back to our village in December, and you're looking at what to give to village people, you've given them money, you've given them oil, you've given them kola nuts. Why don't you try Noiler this December? We're going to be talking about mother units shortly. That's my next line of questions. But I think 10 Noiler to 20 Noiler each at the backyard of every household will solve a lot of problems. Now, to the model unit, now we're talking about business. I'm a vet. How do I profit? Maybe I should bring up Mr. Korede for this first, and then you cap it up. I want to make money. So I love to help, but I also love to make money. And I know that people will buy 10, 20 Noiler from me since I'm a model unit. You said you had about 6,500 model units, and I heard that you have distributed 65 million. So if you divide, let me quickly do a math, just pardon me, 65 million divided by 6,500, that gives almost a perfect figure, right, Mr. Kurede? But pardon me, I need to quickly do this. 65 divided by 6,500. It means that each model unit has averagely given out 10,000 Noila. If I'm raising for 5 weeks, typically what's like the profit margin like? Because I see vets already
sold
making
5,000. Sold. Modern
What do you
unit
mean?
must have sold, not given out.
Yeah, must have sold. Okay, pardon me.
Yes, it's
Must have
business.
given out sold 10,000. That sounds very juicy, right? I could quit my job. I could quit my job right away. If you tell me what's the margin on one Noiler, then I can quickly multiply it by 10,000. Then I know whether I'm wasting my time doing what I'm doing. Or I should just go ahead and go and start a model unit. What's the average margin like on raising one Noiler?
Well, the average profit return you will see on raising 1,000 Noiland is between 27 and 32%. Like I've presented, although my slide on EOP did not come up, I didn't know why. Maybe owing to technical glitches there. You between 27 and 32%. And if you look at 27 to 32% profit on 1,000 birds, is a lot, because I don't know what business you do in Nigeria these days that you'll be able to make that kind of interesting margin after all your expenses. So if you are asking per one bird, I think I have seen an average of 100 naira per bird. I have seen 150 naira, I've seen 120. Depending on the economics of your environment, the state you are coming from, states differ from states. And this is
Mr. Korede, I'm not believing you at all. You introduced me to a model unit in Taraba.
okay.
The model unit sold Noila for me at 1,300. Is it 1,300 or 1,005? And
Yeah.
pardon me that I'm calling figures out. I don't know whether it has increased now or it has reduced. But I know I paid my hard-earned cash to buy birds, 300 Noila then at 5 weeks at around 1,315. You said they eat 1 kg of feed. 1 kg of feed in today's term is around 350 naira. If you divide whatever chick mash mostly, or broiler sada, let's say 400 naira.
400.
Yeah, exactly. How much is Noila? Don't state the price now, because people will now start calling the hatchery and
No,
say
Dr.
somebody cheated me.
if you do the mathematics now, you will even see
Yes.
that it's more profitable.
So that's why when you said 100 to 120, I want to know whether you are just trying to say we should expect the worst.
I am trying to be conservative. So if you are going to get 300 naira per bed, I would like to tell you will get 150 naira per bed. So if you do it and you now get 250, and it can move from 250 to 300, from 300 and above, that's fine. So we are trying to be conservative here, because you have different people coming in. Somebody who has reared birds in the past, somebody who has not reared at all. They are both different people. So you from experience, that's what we came up with, that conservative figure.
So
You understand?
I think,
but I'm sure if you could buy for 1,300 and the cost of production of that person is around 900.
yes, that's 400 naira.
So
So look at it. And to veterinarians, it's because I want to get veterinarians to come on board, and I will start my own. And I will start with 500. And so I'm going to call you after this conversation, right?
Okay,
And we'll see how we can
great.
start with 500. So, but if you are making an average of 300 naira for raising birds for 5 weeks, I wish I can make that 5 weeks 4 weeks so that it will be 1 month. It means that if you raise 1,000, you get 300,000 naira. If you're a vet and you are still earning 100 to 120, I think you can be your own boss. Miss Dr. Ayola, am I correct? Will I be
Absolutely.
correct in this estimate?
And you've hit the point that I've always made, that as a vet, we actually have no excuse to say we're jobless. Don't forget that if you raise it for 5 weeks, which I recommend, by the way, because we found in the early days outbreaks of fowl-pox, and then we had to now extend the time with the mother unit to accommodate that vaccination. So I recommend 5 weeks. Probably need to rest the house for maybe 2 weeks. You clean out, take out all the birds in the first week, and then you clean out the house and prepare it. So we'll look at a cycle of about 8 weeks for one batch. And then you can run that as many times as you want, year of 52 weeks, based on the market that you are able to generate. The other point is that when we started, we actually put mother unit size as minimum of 2,000. But we realized that we couldn't get enough people on board, and also financing that number was hard. And then we slowly reduced the cutoff point for number of requirement for mother units to 300. And we found that was more manageable for more women in more diverse locations. So I think being a mother unit is a good business. We try and get our customers and our farmer satisfaction officers to each of the units, mother units, to help them to generate demand in their locality, in the village, in the rural communities. And together they can work with the mother unit to, create a chain, a value chain, where she's able to sell on a continuous basis to her customers around her. And that is the value chain we have established and that we have seen to be most successful over the years.
So if I get you correctly, mother unit, you can pick up 300, not necessarily the 2,000 now. Fantastic.
No. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, I want to, so for all the interested businessmen, right? We got a commitment from our GMD that if you call after this training, call back end, I want you to put on the number. There's a passcode farm alert that you want to order 300 Noiler and you want to start your mother unit. And you mentioned farm alert, right? You will get a special discount. We will put attention on you and pick your story, and we will bring you on board. We will also help you market that 300. But we will not market 300. We'll market 290 or 280 so that you can keep yours for yourself and also feed your children the eggs that comes out from those mother units. So you will want to call. The numbers are simple and they are on your screen currently, and you can make the order right after. You can call now. Call after the meeting. We just have another 10 minutes to wrap up the question. So let me now start picking questions. I've seen quite a handful of questions. I think the first question I want to pick is Noiler available in Ghana? Our Ghana brothers. Now, I want to say, maybe we should, it's just a moment, maybe we should not send it to Ghana. They are still arguing over our jollof rice. So the last time I was in Ghana, the first question I was asked, which jollof rice is sweeter? Ghana's jollof rice or Nigerian jollof rice? We will encourage that you pick Noiler and then ensure that no change of names, no going out. It doesn't even sound very well, actually. So a Ghanaians entitled to having Noiler available to them.
Yes, Noiler is available in Ghana, and
Fantastic.
we're this time discussing with 3 or 4 partners in that country who will actually, one has started with commercials, and the others are going to, in the near future, establish parent stock farms and hatcheries in Ghana to be able to fully distribute the bird around the country.
All right. So how soon do we have this? He said, I'm a Ghanaian. How can I get Noiler birds? That's from Bamba.
Depending on the number, that can be arranged. Yes.
All right. So
Either you get from Nigeria or you get from our partner in Ghana.
okay, fantastic. So the numbers that we shared on our screen, it's a WhatsApp number also, right? So I think you can save that number and send a WhatsApp message so that we can help you. But ensure you use your promo code FARMALAT. That will give you a lot of attention. So someone said,
Sorry,
bring up
it's not a
another.
WhatsApp number.
It's not a WhatsApp
It's
number.
a number to call. Yes,
Whoa.
but we have customer satisfaction representatives there. You know, at least 12 hours a day unfailingly to be able to respond accordingly.
All right. So what I need to clarify is that can Ghana call that number and it will pull through?
Yes, of course.
All right. So
In
our
addition
Ghanaian
to
brother.
that, Noiler is also available in Togo,
Yep.
where we're about to establish a breeder farm. Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone,
Yep.
and I think Tanzania and Zimbabwe are coming up very soon.
Fantastic. Great stride, sir. Dr. Barnabas said, what are the requirements to be a model unit as a veterinarian? I think we solved that. Please, can you share the vaccination schedule? I didn't get it properly. We could share that also with you. Or you could go back. This is being live streamed. And so all the details of our discussion, you can go back to the video and watch it, and you will have the accurate the vaccination schedule. So, but you want to say something briefly on what veterinarians need to be part of the mother unit cycle?
Really, you need to have a poultry unit that can accommodate 300 birds. That's basically the requirements. And of course, you have to book well in advance, and you'll be given a date. The farmer satisfaction representative will visit you to evaluate your locality and start to identify opportunities in your neighborhood for smallholder farmer customers for you. And it's really as simple as that. Don't forget our target customers are rural women. So we've kept it as simple as possible.
Right.
We've kept the entry level low, to be able to, our tagline is to have the 2.5 million Noiler, to have the Noiler, 20 Noiler birds in 2.5 million families in Nigeria by the year 2025.
Fantastic.
That really is our vision, our ambition. So right now what we're working towards is how can we put 10 to 20 Noiler birds in 2.5 million rural families by the year 2025. And if those 2.5 million rural families have 4 children, And those 4 children are able to get a regular supply of protein through egg and chicken. As it was clearly shown in some Southeast Asian country where, and the study is out there online, where they took a group of kids and fed them a regular regime of eggs over a certain period of time, and took another group of kids without eggs. And without any doubt at all, the children on eggs perform significantly better than the children without.
Yep.
So we believe very, very strongly in this mission. It's not for us only about the money. Don't forget we're selling broiler, we're selling layer, and we have other products that we're selling in our group. For us, the Noiler is a mission. The Noiler, we want to see it succeed.
Fantastic. So, Dr. Barnabas, you have the number, save the number, call right after the meeting, use your passcode FARMALAT, and you are in business. So somebody asked, how many weeks old will they start laying? Should I allow you to answer that, or I should just call in there, Mr. Korede? You know?
The Noiler bird will start laying from about 22 weeks. Regularly. Eggs can start dropping from 20. From 22 weeks, you start to get a regular stream of eggs. Of course, provided that you give them the enabling environment to be able to produce optimally for you. So they'll need a small place to lay their eggs. They'll need a small nest to be able to lay their eggs, which will be a comfort zone for them. You know, and all these details will be shared by the farmer satisfaction representatives to all the smallholder farmers. The vaccination schedule and everything will be shared also with the mother unit, and we usually give them support as well, you know, while doing the vaccination program.
Fantastic. Somebody's asking, let's just still take like 3 or 4 questions and then we call it a day. What can be done to make them lay every day? I had some that didn't lay every day. They were breaking, I said they were breaking their eggs. I think you probably need to debug, but let me allow you, sir, to answer that question. Go ahead, sir. Said they were breaking their eggs every day.
To lay every day. Don't forget that these are not commercial layer birds. So they're not competing with the Easter brown in terms of egg production. They are not layers. They are not broiler. They're a category of birds called dual purpose poultry. So let's be very clear about that. So you cannot force them to lay as prolifically as the Easter brown that under optimal conditions is designed to lay 300 eggs by the year 2025. Okay?
All right, so they are not layers, they are not broilers, they are Noilers. And if it's not Noiler, it is not Noiler. Let me pick another question. Somebody's asking.
You know, if it is not from Amo Farm Zebra Hatchery,
Yeah.
if it's not from Amo Farm Zebra Hatchery, it is not Noiler.
Yeah.
We are victims of our own success because, you know, at the beginning we couldn't meet the demand. We couldn't meet the demand, and we had a lot of people asking for the birds, and they didn't get. Of course, we created an opportunity for all sorts of gaps to, you know, open up. And rightly so, nature abhors a vacuum, and we created that vacuum.
All right, looks like is it his network or my network? Mr. Korede, you want to step in? All right, so I think his network got frozen, but somebody's asking, does Noiler birds need booster as broilers?
No, they don't need booster as broilers.
Right. So we got this very beautiful comment from somebody from, I suspect, from MVMA Kogi State. Can we take up with the state government? We need to work with the First Lady of the office, rural community empowerment. I encourage that. Book 100,000. Use your passcode, farm alert, and let's see how we can work this together. I want to bring up another question. Okay, I think these are basically comments. All right, so let's bring up this. How can I identify Amo Noiler from other Noiler at Oluyole? You know the market, uncle. You really know the market. Because there's a place, there's a place in Ibadan. You know, I got surprised, and I'll probably do a series on that. So one day, I think there was scarcity of beds, and I got to that Oluyole market. And she said she can give me, I've gone to the artery, and they said it wasn't available. She said she can give it to me. She said she now took me to a building, and I saw that there's a business of producing counterfeit packs, and then there's a business of repackaging other birds inside counterfeit packs and sold as the original bird. And you know, that was so disheartening to see that day. So there's Noiler. There's another thing that we don't know what they are called, but they are also being sold as Noiler. So I think at this point, I want you to, is there a way you will know original Noiler? And pardon me to use the word original Noiler because there's really nothing to use again. There's original Noiler, there's Noilers that you will know once you buy, you are in trouble from day one. So the person is asking, that's Dr. Olai Abdulaziz. How can I identify Amo Noiler from other Noilers at Oluyole Market in Ibadan?
So because of the genetic proficiency of Noiler, you may not be able to do that identification. But what we do is this. Once you call that number and you are able to book your order comes directly from Amo Farm. Now, let me tell us that we have reps around 30 states plus FCT. We call them farmer satisfaction rep. We have two in some states, like Ogun, we have two, like Kano two, like Kaduna two, like Oshun two. So there are some states like that where we have two reps representing us. But in some other states, we have a rep. But be sure that any of these reps that is introduced to you, which are from us, when you call that number, it will ask you to pay your money into a designated account, Amo Farm Sibra Archery, Noiler account. It's a First Bank Noiler account. You pay in money there. He or she places your order and you get it directly from the archery. So I advise all of us to always order our product from that designated line. From that designated line, we'll be able to baseline you and we'll be able to attach you to the right rep so that you don't buy counterfeit. Now, people doing counterfeit in Oluyole or wherever, all what they are doing is that they are wasting your money and they are going to get into trouble. Because if you get the bad set of birds, that batch will consume your money. Before you realize that it's a bad product, you must have spent so much. In fact, up to 16, 20 weeks. So you can imagine at 20 weeks, 22 weeks, 25 weeks, they are not dropping. At 22 weeks, they are not dropping. At 25, they are not dropping. At 30, they are not dropping. And you have spent money. It's a disturbing situation. So I will advise everybody to ensure that you buy your Noiler from Amo Farm Zebra Archery Limited, simply called Amo Farm. So buy your Noiler from Amo Farm, and we can guarantee you that what you have bought from Amo Farm is the original. Nothing else but that.
All right, so that's to say that if it is not Panadol, it's not the same thing as Panadol, right? If it's not Noila, and you have a number you can call so that you can avoid this. We're running out of time, but I need to quickly bring this. I love this. Dr. Esther says Noila is very good. For so many months, I have not bought egg because of a few Noila I have at home. You know, if it's a religious gathering, I will say, I tap in your anointing. I'm going to do this so that I can remove that part from the budget of constantly buying eggs for my 4 kids. So thank you for sharing that. So let me also acknowledge somebody's comment. Thank you, Dr. Ayola. You're truly a genius to have conceived this beautiful idea that has been a source of financial assistance to so many. Like just one idea you had, 65 million of those beds sold. Sir, you can write a book, sir, and we will sell. So somebody is asking, I really want to end this, but let's pick this. Can Noila hatch their eggs?
No, Noiler cannot hatch. They're not natural brooders, so they cannot hatch their eggs.
All right, so let's take, I think these questions are joined together. He said, can we have the contacts of state representative? And then this question also stated that, do you have a distributor of Noila birds at Oluyole Market? So why do you like Oluyole Market? I presume that you are all vets, right? We gave you somebody's number. So, you know, if you're chasing somebody and this person say, take my number, and instead of you to call the number, you are going to go and look for the person in his house. Just call. Where are you? I'm so place and so place, and then that solves it. So I think for professionals, I really try to tell vets, if you have the contacts of those hatcheries, avoid Oluyole Market. You know, they will encourage you to buy, and they will say your customer will not know. One told me like that I should buy it, that they will not know. You can't have conscience and buy those bets to harm your customer. Back end, I want you to display the number again. It's simple. I don't know how Amo got that number, but it's simple. You can cram it almost immediately. It only has like 3 different. You have 0, you have 7, you have 6. That's all.
It's 0,
If you know the order,
6,600.
so that's it. I've crammed it now, master.
6,600.
600. 0700 6,600. That's all. You don't need to save it on your phone. Just put it on your head. As vets, we can cram. Now, I think we've spent a lot of time.
Oh, Doc, you have not answered the first question. It's asking for the rep's number. Now,
Exactly.
call 0700 6,600. They will ask you the right questions, and they will baseline you and direct you to the right person. That's the way to go about
Fantastic.
it.
I think people are really asking, are reps for Noila in Benin? No,
Yes.
I see a lot of those questions. So
Yes.
that number is number that will solve all your problems. Ensure you call after this meeting. Let it keep ringing. Use your passcode of FarmAlert so that you can get a special discount. And I assure you, the GMD is here. We're all in the same state. They will give you a special discount, and then we can create these revolutions together. Somebody is saying, and this is on a final note, Nola is good and has high resistance. Of course, when broiler is dying, our local chicken is just looking and wondering what's wrong. You know how mosquito used to kill white people? And we will just wake up with mosquito. We say, mosquito bite me. And then you go about your normal day. Our Noiler has the capacity to withstand what the broilers that we usually eat doesn't have. It has good taste. And of course, it's an idea whose time has come. Mr. Corey, the head of Noiler business. We have over 200 people join. By the time we are done with this, you will see over 300 views, and it could go as high as 1,000 by tomorrow. So it means that there's a high view of this. As the head of Noiler, what will be your final words to the people watching?
So I would say you have listened to the best online business meeting so far. I need you to just make your decision and resolve in your mind that you want to do this. If you are coming up as a mother unit, you are coming for business. And we will tell you how to do the business. And if you follow it the way we should do it, then the results will be fantastic. I want to assure you that we are available for you, ready to serve you. We are just waiting for that call from you so that you have Noiler as part of your investments. And for smallholder farmers too, we want to tell you that we have mother units all around and more are coming on stream. Even from this gathering, we have people that will become mother units that will be able to even serve you at that your location. Thank you. I'll be expecting your call.
And
I want to do something with. Yes, sir.
Okay. And from me, I want to say that let us change the narration of malnutrition in our country. Let us change the narration of infant mortality, childhood stunting, and all those negative narratives. This is our country. We need to continue to move it forward. I want each and every one of us to please join us to put 10 to 20 Noiler birds in 2.5 million rural households by the year 2025. As our host has spoken, when you're going to your village, look for the 100 poorest women in your community and place 10 to 20 Noiler birds in their backyard. They are not competing with commercial eggs in the city because they cannot afford to pay 2,500 naira for a crate of eggs. So this is not in competition with any commercial farm. This is an opportunity for us to make a significant dent to something that is a major problem on our. And I think it's.
Okay, you're freezing, sir.
So I think we should give it all it takes. And that is my message to all of my dear colleagues. Thank you very much for all your support over the years. I pray for a much, much, much better Nigeria for all of us. Amen.
Need I say that when I grow up, sir, I want to be like
Thank you, Dr. Femi.
I honestly want to be like you when I grow up. Well, we can only say that we admire your courage and we are inspired by your success. Let me try and summarize a few takeaway points. First of all, I want us all
Dr.
on
Femi,
this
when I
call.
grow up, I also want to be like you.
Yes, sir. You are past. you are past. We are only just trying to crawl and meet up. Yes, sir. So let me leave this few summary, right? So if you're on this call, I want you to encourage people, family. I'm echoing back end. Can I? Back end, I'm echoing. I don't need to echo. All right. So I want to leave this summary. If you're on this call, I want you to encourage people, families. I will have mine, but I think I will start a mother unit. I'm going to call Mr. Korede after this meeting, and I will start something really very small. But more importantly, I will have my own so that I can experiment this with my kids and we will stop buying eggs. That will solve a lot of problems. And I think when my second daughter is very intelligent, when she builds a plane, I will attribute it to Noiler eggs. I encourage her to be a science person, and I look forward to Nigerians building, thinking, and building as a nation. Then the second thing I want to encourage is that you can start up a business. There are very few people who are earning 300,000 every month. There are also very few people who are earning 150,000 every month. You can start this Noiler business and be your own boss. And you don't need to be awake all. At what stayed with an uncle in Lagos briefly, the uncle wakes up 3 a.m. to go to work and comes back 10 a.m., 10 p.m., and the cycle begins. Ask me how much the person's salary is, 70,000. You see, there are some enemy from the village that has locked you to think that if you're staying at home and doing something productive, they will look down at you. Some people get shy. Just look at the numbers. If the numbers you can make from owning a mother unit is better, I think you can use that as a side business. Once you're comfortable and you're sure that it makes good sense for you, eat the chicken at least once every month, take the eggs, sleep very well, and then you'll be as fine as our group managing director. The very nice shaped beards, very nice clothes, looking very composed, and we can only wish for more success for you. So be a mother unit, encourage people to pick up 5 weeks old birds so that we can create a revolution. I want to thank, first of all, the head of Noiler. First of all, let me thank the Assistant Inspector General of Police. She got a message this morning that the IG wants to see all of them. And of course, there's really nothing she could do. She would have loved to be here. She empowered 300 women on the Mambila, and that was really heartwarming. I also want to thank the entire AMO team, starting from the head of Noiler Business. You've spared your time to educate us, not because you want to sell, but because you want to help. And I will look forward to also seeing that this help cascades into practical solutions that we will all be proud of. Lastly, I want to thank, NEPA has done their work. Lastly, I want to thank the Group Managing Director for Amo Siberia Hatchery for this wonderful time out. And to every one of you who joined, right? My love to every one of you. And save the number. Let's keep the activity going. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone. And a wonderful Tuesday to every one of you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Doc. Thank you very much. Great job. Okay, thank you.
It's ODJ. Share you like us, your chicken, they die anyhow. Share you like us, your fish, they die anyhow. You don't tire to the fumigate. You don't tire to the lose money. Oh, yeah. It's farm a lot. No worry, my brother, you go get a lot. Oh, it's farm a lot. All the sickness for your farm go end at last. Oh, God, relax. Farm a lot, don't come, we go help you out. Oh, madam, relax. Farm a lot, don't come, we go bail you out. If you want your farming to progress, everything go they make sense with. We go give you training, we go help you. If you want your farming to progress, farming go they make sense when you join. Your livestock no go die. My brother make you join. This message is brought to you by Farm Alert, providing healthcare for livestock owners and their livestock.